Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. I'm Matt Captain. This is another video on Raid Shadow Legends. And I was just trying something out and I thought, you know what, this is kind of different. I don't think I've ever seen it before, so I'm going to bring it to you in a video. And that is Ethos in Hydra. That's right, I said it. Ethos in Hydra. He's not thought of as a Hydra champion. He's not thought of as a champion that you would bring in for Hydra. At first glance, he may not bring in the kit you are wanting for. But as I was playing around, now full disclosure, on Hard Hydra, the reason why I think he can absolutely be put in, and we'll talk about his kit and why he can actually go into Brutal and probably even Nightmare, should you need that for your team. The reason why I am not is, quite frankly, I've used my builds for Nightmare. It's not just about one champion. If you're doing Nightmare Hydra, all 6 of your champions need to be synced. They need to have the right resistances, the right accuracies, the right speeds, and the right damage, and most importantly, the right HP and defense in order to survive long enough to put up one key Nightmare. So unfortunately, I can't bring him into Nightmare. I can't bring him into Brutal. I might be able to use him, put him in Brutal, but why not just start him in Hard, show you what I'm talking about, and then we can kind of bring that thought forward into other keys. Now, I'm also featuring a couple of champions that aren't mainstays, but and a couple champions that absolutely are. And this is why Ethos is so good. You look at this team here. You have Duchess. Duchess is the mitigation, the supplementary heals when someone dies. She puts a continuous heal on everyone. She's got the obviously she's got the like I said, damage mitigation with True Fear, or sorry, with True Veil, Perfect Veil. I don't even know where I'm at right now. Perfect Veil, and of course she's got the Revive, so you've got kind of a whole little kit out of her, and absolutely a mainstay. Ugo, widely regarded as the best champion. The only negative, if you can find one, is that she is affinity, and this is one of her least affinity friendly rotations because it starts with 2 force affinity champions up there, but she's got the block buffs, defense down, heals, and technically she's got a Revive, though if you're getting to there, a little bit scary. And then the most often forgotten Leech, which absolutely helps keep your nukers alive. And then Solus is kind of a tier 2, although I don't know why, I'd probably even call him a tier 1. He is a major tier taunter. I have him in Relentless gear so that he's going to get the opportunity to move multiple times and therefore have chances to keep that taunt up 24/7. As you can see, I do not have a Krisk on this one, my third team. Boohoo is me. I'm sure you all feel bad for me. But I'm also bringing, and then of course Royal Guard brings that AoE crit damage, that enemy max HP that does that just absolute disastrously successful damage on all heads. And we got a couple that we are not used to seeing. Whisper, who I've talked about before, she's a 6-star blessed, very well built for this kind of scenario. And because of Whisper is why I think Ethos is perfect for this encounter. Now, you're not going to quite build Ethos the way you think you are, and it's going to be really dependent on where you are using him. For Hard Hydra, the requirements are a little bit more, open. Obviously on normal, much more so. But if you are trying to take on, I forget he's a plus. If you're trying to take on harsher content, obviously you're gonna have to build him up a little more. So we do have him in Savage and Cruel gear. I have him at good speed, 217. I do have him with accuracy. I put an accuracy banner on him. That's not something I normally do, and it's very intentional. We have him at 7,300 attack. Now, the higher you go, the less attack you're going to give, simply because you'll have to bolster that HP and defense numbers up for him to be more survivable. The HP being the easier. And at 18,825 base, he actually is not too bad. You can actually get him to pretty good stats as far as his HP. Of course, I have the added bonus of being empowerment. You can always put him in a HP-based blessing as well to help him out. I currently have him in an attack-based one. Either one's going to help you out there. So why is he so good or why am I saying he's so good? First of all, he's got 2 AoE skills. Now, we know because of the Head of Mischief, AoE skills reign supreme. If you only have 1 AoE champion, you run the risk of not being able to save a champion eaten by the Head of Mischief. Ethos does not have that issue. He comes with 2 AoE skills that are very hard-hitting skills. This one's always critical. It's one of the major beefs I have. So many champions still have this issue, and he's one of them. All or none. Either all of his abilities are critical or no bother, because you're going to build this guy out for full crit damage. I know back in the year one arena, Ethos was just built full crit, full damage, no crit, and you just use your A3 and then hope it was enough. That's not how you build them now. This is such a powerful skill, but this is also a powerful skill because of accuracy. They actually tweaked him slightly, so then now this is the large version of Weaken. Now, with Ugo being one of the most popular champions for the Hydra, she only puts a defense down. The easiest way to improve your overall team damage is to include the Weaken. The Weaken is such a strong part of an overall damage team that it behooves me to say, well, who's got an AoE Weaken at 100%? Well, you're looking right at him, right here. Attacks all enemies 3 times, places a 25% Weaken debuff for 2 turns. This is amazing. This is a great ability that's really going to rack up the damage for the team just by the fact that he has the Weaken. Why is that? And of course, this here, by the way, 20% chance for an extra turn, destroys enemy max HP, not a huge deal, but also hits very, very strong on single targets, which you will see in this example. As far as his masteries go, I don't need to really go through it. Obviously, if you're going to use him for this, you probably don't want him in Helm Smasher. You're probably going to want him in War Master so that you can get those procs. In fact, if I have a free one, I have no problems doing this. I don't, oh no, it's not free. Nope, we're not paying for it. I need to save my gems. I got some other builds for the I Built Them series. But I would put him in War Master if you're going to do that. Although I still like this because he's got 2 AoE skills. I do still like having Helm Smasher for general campaign, wave clearing, that sort of thing. It's up to you. This is kind of more an arena build, but it'll work perfectly fine for our test here. Now, like I said, Ugo only puts the defense down. Why is that important to my team? Especially, well, that's because of Whisper, because Whisper gets an extra turn when the target is under decreased defense and Weaken. And so we tune it so that Ethos will go after Ugo. And of course, that means that she can get extra turns. Now, she hits really hard. I actually have her built for Brutal, so I could actually eke out more damage out of this by dropping her HP a bit and giving it over to attack. I also have her at high resistance, just in case I need her as the target for the Head of Mischief. Though because of her extra turn, she's not a consistent target. So that is why it is so great having Solus along with Ugo, because Solus can actually extend debuffs and make sure that that block buffs is up 100 or near 100% of the time, so that you don't have to worry about, yeah, it's kind of a pain in the butt to have your buffs stolen, but at least you're not getting them you're not getting them spread among the enemy, which is the real hard part about dealing with the Head of Mischief. So let's bring this team in, let's start fighting, and we'll show you where we're going with it, and then we'll show you the damages that he can do. What I'm going to do is I'm actually going to play this out. We'll do the first couple turns. I'll just we'll play it out. We'll speed it up for you because you don't need to see the whole fight, but it'll be nice to see the damage that Ethos can put out at the end, keeping in mind that he's also adding quite a bit to the team. Now, keep in mind, we do have weak heads. This is the greatest part about this, is that you at least can start off on the right foot. After that, you play your cards as you get them. But right off the bat, it's really nice to be able to restart it so that your Ugo gets the best possible outcome, which is all 8 of her buffs, 2 on each champion, landing. Now, she's also in Relentless, so that's also a nice little added bonus that I have, is she's going to have there. Now, we can do 2 things here. I'm actually going to extend the buffs as well as get that taunt up, and then we're going to put those weakens up. Boom, we've got everyone weakened. Now our Royal Guard can hit even harder. Look how much he's hitting. Now, we can start her with this. Now, there's a 30% chance she won't crit, but we don't care. We just want that extra damage and that extra turn. Then she's going to put the crit on herself and be able to do another 174,000 damage. Oh, gee darn, buffs got stolen. If I didn't want the buff stolen, what I would do is I would reverse the order on my Whisper. I would do that A2 first, because then she would have more buffs, and then the next round she'd be able to go A3, A1 with the extra turn, and then the A1 has a small chance of getting an extra turn as well. So it just depends on what you need. I don't really care if these guys get buff stolen. What's he going to lose there? He would have lost an increased attack, which doesn't matter for Solus, so no big deal there. We'll save her heals. Now, she can also, I should have went over here, but his A2 here, you can see the hits. He's hitting for 80 to 100,000 per. That's you can't ask anything more. Hey, and then that's really huge. We got that extra turn from Relentless, which is going to help us out. Let's slow him down. The speed debuff is one of the most underrated things in this. I know people who do, like, you know, you talk to Odd One, he knows exactly how critical and how big a deal getting speed debuffs on these champions is, but not everyone does. It is absolutely fire. It's so huge to be able to slow them down. Anyway, that's all. You can see this is the cycle. It's rinse, repeat. I'm going to speed it up here and play out the rune, and then we'll see what the score is at the very end. All right, I thought I would stop it there. I made a big boo boo there. Ugo had absolutely had her her block damage, or sorry, block buffs up. I didn't use it because I thought we were gonna get the cleanse, but Solus would have gotten the taunt out, and then we got eaten by the head of mischief and Duchess, the worst of the bunch. So we stop her here. There you see the damages. Yes, absolutely. Whisper 10.8 million on an early exit key. And Ethos, though, 8.259, actually out damaging the Royal Guard at 8.152, even though Ethos was dying for much of the fight, which you can absolutely fix because, again, his base stats are way larger, so that he's gonna be able to gain survivability stats very easily. Of course, I have him +2, which doesn't hurt my cause, obviously. I'm well aware of that. And yes, this isn't hard, but I just wanted to show you that Ethos is absolutely available. The reason why he can do so well, in addition to, the fact that he's got really good stats, base stats, so that you can make him survivable. You can make him high resistance if you needed to, although he doesn't put buffs up, so it may not help you. You can have him do damage. You can put him in Savage. You can put him in Taunt gear if you needed to. He's very wide open. On top of that, he's got 2 AoEs. And those AoEs are on quick cooldowns, especially his A2, which is his weaken. So what you're bringing to this team, which is a very common team, like Lilitu, Ugo, Royal Guard, very common trio. Solus, sometimes you have Husk, Chris could be in here. But then Ethos comes in with an AoE to help protect. It's a secondary protection. You always want, in my opinion, 2 AoEs. If you're going to bring in someone like Whisper, Whisper needs protection because she's a single target, right? So in order to bring her in, we do need 2 AoEs, which we have Royal Guard Ethos. And that just allows me to build the whole team with the defense down, Ugo, and then bring in Ethos for the weekend. Keep in mind, not only is Ethos putting the second most amount of damage on this team, but he's doing so and increasing the damage that every other champion on this team does because of him being able to land that weekend. And it's especially when it's such a minor buff, it's such a throwaway buff that I don't think any of us had thought of. But the fact that he has a big weekend on an AoE 3-turn cooldown, a 2-turn weekend, makes him absolutely viable in the Hydra. If you have an Ethos, if you're struggling on a second or third key, I think Ethos is absolutely someone you could bring in. Obviously, Acrizia is still the #1 damage dealer. Geo is probably the most versatile because he is able to place HP burn on weak affinity and just allows you to target that head of mischief very easily. But Ethos right up there, does great damage, especially his A1. When you have a head, now I didn't target. I wanted to kill because of the comp, because I didn't have a buff extension on this team. I wanted to kill the head of Torment really quickly, and I wanted to kill the head of Decay. I probably could up this damage even more by better concentrating on the blown up heads. But using his A1, don't even use his AoE when the head's down. Use his A1. It's doing way more damage, especially you get it once with the weaken. And then the defense down on one of those blown up heads. His A1 is going to hit for 500,000 on some of those guys. And he was actually slightly out hitting Whisper. Because even though she gets the bonus damage, like I said, I have her built out to be a little bit more stalwart. And you saw it here. She actually didn't die right away. It was Royal Guard and Ethos that died because I have built her for a brutal key. I just didn't end up using her in my brutal key. But you know, I think that Ethos is a perfect. I'm going to keep the key. Like, why not? I only did 20 million. We did 34. I'm good with that. And it's a good reminder that you have other champions. Now, I could have also, by the way, yes, I know, I could have done it auto. I don't like autoing Hydra, which is part of probably my own frustration. I don't like Hydra auto because there's so many different variables. What if the head of Torment goes up? What if you're, like, I'm an idiot. I used to probably saw it a bunch of times if you paid attention. I need to take away the counterattack of a Fear's Place, because all that does is put fear on that champion too. All my champions, I think, have it. So they kept fear procking themselves, which made things even worse. But I think, yeah. Back to the the topic at hand. Can Ethos be used in Hydra? Yes. And you can see here, I don't think anyone has. Probably I'm the first one to do it. Well, at least in my clan, I don't see any others. Do I think he is a nightmare? Maybe. I think if you bring him in along with the secondary damage, like I really think here's a guy that could work really well. I look at some of these teams. Necmo, I can't remember what Necmo does. He put a I don't think they have a weekend on this team, do they? So maybe that's something you could do. You look at like Josetta's team on Nightmare, 63 million, great team. But could you arguably put Ethos in a little bit bigger, heftier version? Could you put him in Geo's spot and you're taking away Geo's damage? And I don't think on Nightmare level, depending on your head rotation, the head of Wrath is going to give you way more damage on your Geo because he does more damage. But could you put a more survivable version of my Ethos in that Nightmare team, which is just only going to allow Acrizia to do that much more damage because now you have Weaken. Weaken is so big a deal, especially on capped damages, because the Weaken is over and above the cap. So the cap is the amount it's able to do, and then the modifiers. I don't know if you knew that, but it makes it such a big deal. And so, yeah, let me know in the comments down below. Ethos, Hydra, am I out to lunch? Or do you think this is a champion that could actually be used? If you want me to do a Nightmare key, absolutely I will. I wouldn't do a whole new video on it, but I would prop him into a Nightmare team instead of a Geo. The Nightmare team that I typically use on this particular rotations right here, very standard team, very vanilla. We're using, like you see with most people that have them, the Chris Duchess combo, Royal Guard, Husk, Geo, and Ugo. I will pop Ethos in that Geo slot with this team, with my better built up team. Let me know if you want me to do that. I'll give it a try. So I think it'll be pretty fun. I would even consider removing Husk for Solus in that team too, by the way. Well, maybe not. Maybe not. I don't know. We'll see. That Husk is less damage and more control because I have him in a taunt set. Anyway, let me know in the comments down below. Out to lunch crazy? You think it's worthwhile? And most importantly, please be kind, be safe. See you in the next video.